February 2nd. I couldn't really tell if he was sad or angry. All I knew was that something felt different. I asked him, more than once, "Are you okay?" He said yes, but the silence in the room said something else. His body said something else. And instead of pressing him, I let it go. Because sometimes, trying to open a closed door only slams it harder. Later, when it was time for our dance session, something that's supposed to be light, fun, maybe even a little connecting, he was distant, detached. He didn't tell me what we were doing like he usually does. There was no guiding, no partnering, only coldness, only frustration. He moved like he didn't want to be there, like the steps were just tasks to complete, and I stood there thinking, why does this feel like I'm dancing with someone who's already gone? That night left me feeling more alone than I ever expected. Not because he said something harsh, but because he said nothing at all. February 4th, a Saturday. After dinner, he started talking, and for a moment I thought maybe he was finally going to tell me why he'd been so quiet the day before, why he seemed sad or angry. But instead, he looked at me and said, "If you don't want to take this dance seriously, I'm going to stop wasting my time. I can't keep teaching you if you don't retain anything." I was stunned. That's what this was about? I asked him, "Is that why you were upset yesterday, and you didn't want to say anything?" Because I had planned to talk to him, too. I wanted to talk about the way he treated me, how he stood there, watching me struggle through exercises with no guidance, no encouragement, just frustration on his face, and how I was left trying to guess what I'd done wrong. But instead of hearing me, he said this, "You're not happy either when your kids don't retain anything." And yes, that part's true. I do feel disappointed when my students don't remember what I've taught. But I don't give up on them. I don't threaten to stop teaching. I don't make them feel like they're not worth the effort. Then he said it again, that if I wasn't going to make the effort, if I wasn't going to practice, then I should stop wasting his time. I looked at him, and without hesitation, I said, "I choose to stop." And he said nothing. No reaction, no reflection, just silence. What hurt the most wasn't the end of the dance classes. It was realizing he never once considered what that time meant to me. For him, it was about results. But for me, it was about us, about connection, about being close to the man I married. I told him that. But he kept circling back. "You haven't retained the basics." And what's almost laughable is that the students he teaches, people who've been dancing for years, they're still practicing the exact same steps. So why was I expected to get it perfectly? In just a few weeks, why is there grace for everyone else, but not for me? Even the couple that taught us, they never made anyone feel like a burden. They never said, "Stop wasting our time if you can't get it right." But with him, that's exactly how I felt. Not like a partner, not like a wife, just another project. February 18th. The evening had been quiet, the kind of quiet that felt settled, almost peaceful. We were winding down for the night, and I'd gone to the bedroom first, as usual. I was sitting on the bed, phone in hand, scrolling and messaging, waiting for him to come in so we could pray before sleeping. Then I felt it, that sudden shift in the air. I turned around, and there he was, standing just inside the doorway, his face tight with frustration, his body stiff with restrained anger. "Haven't you had enough of the phone?" he snapped. "You've been on it for 3 hours." His voice wasn't raised, but it didn't need to be. His tone was sharp, carved out of something heavier than annoyance. I blinked, surprised, but not entirely. I answered quietly, "I was waiting for you. I wasn't just watching videos. I was also talking to people." What I didn't say out loud, but whispered in my heart, was this: "Because you don't talk to me. Because I'm always waiting for you." He didn't respond. We prayed, but it was strained, like going through the motions in a room where love had paused. When it was over, he walked out. No goodnight, no kiss, no soft words to end the day, and he left the lights on. When he came back to bed, he didn't turn toward me, didn't reach for me, didn't say a thing. He stayed on his side of the bed, silent, distant, and that silence stretched until morning. The next day, I promised myself I'd speak up. After breakfast, I asked if we could talk. He agreed. He told me he wasn't happy with how much time I spend on my phone. I let him speak. Then I told him what I had been holding in. I told him how painful it was, the way he lashed out, how he looked at me with anger over something so small, how he left the room without turning off the light, without saying a word, how he always seems to punish me when he's upset, but never tells me why. I reminded him that he watches plenty of TV too, late at night, long after I've gone to sleep, alone in the living room. I told him I want more time together, that we're newly married and already we feel like strangers in our own routines. And the proof of that? The nights I try to spend with him, ask to watch something, just be with him. We can't even find a show, because he's already watched most of them. Without me. I told him the truth. You withdraw. You shut down. You get angry and I'm left in the dark, literally and emotionally. You don't speak. You don't explain. You don't reach for me. And that silence, it's starting to sound a lot like distance I can't cross, like a wall I'm not invited to break.